Hi, I'm Chris McKenzie, and today we're faux finishing a table. Here you can see the table is in really rough shape where the owner tried to previously refinish it themselves. What I'm doing now is I'm rubbing on a wood conditioner to help seal all the ends and all the open grain to make sure that when we start our fauxing process, everything comes out fairly even. It's very important that you make sure you get all the spots that you think are going to be problem spots. What I'm doing now is I'm adding the first bit of color. This is a Howard's Restores finished product. It's in mahogany. It's a little bit of color with wipe-on poly, and what it does is that allows us to control slight gradation in the wood tone. I'm making sure I'm trying to pick random patterns to make it look as natural as possible. Now we're establishing the sequence of color. Since this table is going to be a kind of sun-bleached barnwood style, I decided I would go with a pickled white that I've modified with a little bit of gold and black. So we're going to start with our lighter color and then come in with subtle shades of the dark colors, and our last color will be our blacks, and then we'll have a couple of mid-tones in between there. You can see here I'm doing a lot of blending. You'll see me doing a lot of blending to soften some of the edges. Now what we're doing is we're establishing some of those mid-tones and some of those darker ochre colors that are going to be the top, that are kind of going to give us our grain pattern. Now you'll see Josh basing the whole table in that pickling white. Now here's that side finish that you saw me working on earlier with all the established values and colors. Now I'm working on the loose plank joints. What I'm ragging on is a latex paint. It's very fast drying. What it does is it sits on top of the oil and gives us nice black lines without moving the oil underneath it. And now that we have our line and shading done, we're going to remove the tape. Next, I'm establishing grain pattern with different types of blends that I've done over on a small napkin to establish different shading. What we're going to do is we're going to always work lighter to darker to give us depth. And here I'm taking a rag with a little bit of paint thinner on it and just softening up those lines to make them look a little set back. And here I use a trick where I multi-palette the brush, where there is a light color on it, a mid color, and a dark color. And you can really see it starting to come to life as it deposits a bunch of different tones on the wood. Here you can really see the depth and the grain starting to show, where you can see that little bit of chamfering that real wood has. And once again, always softening the lines, picking what I want to be harsh and what I want to be soft, really blending it out. It really starts giving it like a subtle life. And there's that rag I was telling you about, where you're going to see me take some of that dark walnut and some of that custom pickling white, and you're going to watch me kind of blend it in to make almost like a sienna style umber. And what I'm going to be working on is establish some knot holes in the wood, you know, like old wood would have. I didn't want to do too many of them, so I really only worked on this large one and the smaller one you saw on the other side. They're a fun little neat trick, but you know, you can go overboard with them. And on this style of wood, what I'm doing is I'm always working lighter to darker, except for when I come in and I establish a couple of little highlights. And not forgetting to blend and wipe it down to give it more of a soft edge. You know, we don't want anything having a really sharp tone to it. And this is a neat little trick, and don't worry guys, it's a latex paint that I'm using on my hand. I'm not using any oils on it, but it's a little neat trick. It's a dab and twist kind of technique, and it helps really get a nice knot look. And now just coming in and really lightly working those white tones into, and you're going to see where I start soft brushing those out. And this is just a dry brushing technique that'll just give us a couple of highlighted areas. And here I'm just showing another way to establish grain. You don't always have to use a chip brush. Sometimes just a rag and some kind of crinkled up random pattern wiping will be just fine. And I know it looks a little light here guys, but it's going to get, you know, like probably 5 or 6 more layers to darken it up. And here you can see the finished product without clear. As you can see Josh down there preparing the legs to get sprayed. And there you go guys, from that to this. Hope you enjoyed.